Let's go get cracking it. Go. Good morning, welcome to Morning Outlook. This is Kim speaking on Wednesday the 20th of September. So before we get on with the technical analysis, let's just have a quick look at the data due to come out today. Well, it's Wednesday the 20th, so of course that means the FOMC meeting. Important data today on that. I'll just come on to that in a moment. Just look at yesterday's data there. Inflation with Canada still pushing. In fact, it was higher than expected there. Still high, effectively, much higher than they want in terms of their targets, the same as everyone else is around about the 1 to 3% range. So they're still 4%, still too much. So there we go. That will hold the Canadian dollar most likely. But what we've got coming up, well, we've had the UK inflation that dropped more than expected. I haven't read the absolute detail behind that, but it looks like it dropped across the number of different measures there. So down much more than expected there, and probably a thankful sight from the central bank. But we've still got the Bank of England meeting tomorrow. There's still an expectation that rates would be increased, so that's not gone away. But for now, we've certainly seen the pound sold on that basis. Now this afternoon, evening or morning, depending where you are in the world, we have the Fed rates coming out there at 7 o'clock. So midday actually, isn't it? US Eastern. But expectations is for it to be left alone. There's an expectation that they'll be hawkish when they leave it alone. So will the markets just sell the dollar on the basis of the news is already out there and everything else? Well, we'll have to. It's such a guessing game, because nobody knows exactly how it's going to go, what they're going to say. Important thing is this economic projections that come out with this meeting, which we only see once a quarter. And this gives projections. It's called the dot plot projections, and they basically plot on a chart where they think interest rates are going to be at different stages of the future. And it's obviously it's going to be tainted by their own perception of where the economy is going to be, etc. So it's very important, because it's this longer term view. The big money tends to follow more than the short term action, which they can see what everyone else is seeing there. Anyway, so an important meeting, 7 o'clock, that data will all be released, and then we've got the press conference at 7:30. It may be that this is a bit dovish, followed by a bit of hawkishness, so be careful. My idea here is not to be trading too much at all. Be careful of anything that's directly dollar based. Right, that's pretty much it. The GDP data coming through for New Zealand at 11:45. So that's the important stuff for today. Not forgetting tomorrow is the Bank of England. I'll just put that in the back of your mind so you can remember. Right, looking at the markets, Forex markets, euro dollar still very much in a downward trend on its bigger picture here. 4 hourlies, it's done its high lows. I've just still got my flag on from I say flag, my trend line. It's not a flag at all. My trend line on from yesterday. Readjusted trend line that I'd put on from earlier in the week, so that's still sitting there. We'll see if it corrects itself. It's had a bit of a rally first thing this morning. We'll see how this adjusts. My expectation is really more what you can see in this shorter term time frame here. You can see this chop. You see it better there, and I expect. Look, it was chopping this on Monday, Tuesday, and I think for most of Wednesday it could be doing the same. So just trader beware. Pound dollar. Pound, we've seen it sell off here this morning. The general direction is southbound. It's for once properly broken and clear. It looks like it's clearing. We'll see how far it does clear. My magic pivot. This pivotal area here, it has been a key all the way through here. It was key. We did have a bounce off of it initially recently, but this time it looks like it's broken, and certainly looking until tomorrow, of course, pretty soft. Well, maybe even after tomorrow, but again, I wouldn't want to second guess this. What we've seen here is a correction in terms of the inflation come less than expected, but the inflation figure is still very, very high, and yeah, it's much higher than some of the other large economies. So inflation is still a problem. So yeah, this movement may be short-lived. We've seen a bounce off it already. Maybe it'll drift some more, but I expect it to do what we're seeing here, but maybe down here. It might get back into its range, but I expect it to be pretty sideward. Dollar yen, we've seen this pushing up here, running back up to the highs. It's well, yeah, just double back into the sort of double top territory, but it's slow. But again, this might plod on, but huge risk later on. It's one of those markets that really moves along with the euro. When we get the US data come out, it's very highly traded, the yen over US news, along with the euro. Aussie dollar, Aussie's been recovering. Yesterday I was a bit I was certainly questioning it in terms of what it's doing. In the bigger picture, on a daily basis, really, end of day, I'm still looking at it thinking, well, this could roll over. I'm finding it hard to get my head around the idea of long trades on this, even though we've got higher lows coming through here on the 4-hourly. I'm still questioning the overall whether this is just a very slow correction. One thing I would say is look at the frequency of a market when it's trying to build up here. Now, of course, the first wave is a bit of a denial. If we're seeing a correction, any correction waves like this are often denial. You could see it down the bottom here, but look at the frequency of how close it's going up and down through the market. High frequency often leads to correction back into bigger trends, so I'm just watching it very carefully. Not trading it at the moment as it is there. There are other opportunities though. US dollar CAD yesterday, solid. Well, we just saw a solid continuation. I looked at it a little envious in the morning as it sort of it continued pushing through there at 10 o'clock, only to find, well, a continuation. I did actually do an update and didn't post it yesterday, and I looked at it and I thought, I wonder if this is going to bounce, and I actually mentioned it. I should actually put it up, but I left it late. I got drawn away from the desk, but there you go. It did actually do what I thought it might done, but that isn't to say I don't think it will continue to correct further south. However, with the news coming out today, this too could end up in a chop, so be careful. New Zealand dollar, we've seen this recovering along with the Aussie dollar, but also it's got that high frequency I'm talking about, and I just, you know, if it's up quickly, down quickly, up quickly, you see it on the 4-hourlies here, it's almost red and greens. I expect it to be a bit iffy, so keeping close of that. Swissy, often seen as a bit of a safety currency when during uncertainty. Well, this is a 4-hour chart. This is just chopping along here. Euro yen, it broke out yesterday, had this little breakout, only for it to come pretty much back, and then we had a lot of brokers here. I'm looking at it here on Pepperstones, but we saw quite a correction. I say correction, but quite a move there overnight. The 10 o'clock change there, and the beginning of the new trading day. Very bitty at the moment, but again, well, I'm just looking at it short term. It's quite ugly. Now, cross pairs might work out a little bit better today in terms of trading, but there's quite some ugliness. The euro pound, where we, of course, the euro's It pitched through yesterday only to sell back off again, but it's pitched through today where we've seen the pound sell, so it's no surprise here. It has come back up to its quarterly pivot, which might provide some decent resistance. In fact, you're seeing how close. Well, there you go. Why did it stop there then? Maybe some other people using pivots and the bigger time frames. Anyway, selling coming at that point there, previous highs, previous lows, I guess, of course, as well. Highs in particularly, but we've got the previous lows. But not a trade sitting there for me at this stage. EURUSD, different ball game here. We've seen a bit of a correction. And I drew this on this morning, but I was looking at this yesterday. What I tend to do is focus on the time frame I want to be trading in more specifically. I want to always be trading in the direction of the bigger trend, but the bigger trend has been to the downside. So I'm looking at the dailies there, seeing what's coming, and that's been coming off there. 4 hourly wise, it's been coming off pretty solidly. Yes, we've got this higher low and this bounce, but then it's broken. I've taken a short on this. I'm currently sitting in a short position on this EURUSD. It might be extremely risky, and I'll review it before 7 o'clock. The US data comes out later, but I've given it a reasonably wide berth, so we'll see what develops from this. But it's got scope to roll, and the hourly is obviously not showing me too much, but I'm just really looking for this bigger picture. It would be quite nice if it can break down the prior lows there and continue rolling, but looking soft on the swing side of things. The EUROCAD, similar picture in terms of its move. However, it did find support yesterday into its weekly S1. Again, though, look at the trend of this. It's not a massively high frequency. It's nice movements. The retracements, yeah, they're going up, but they're going up at a steady rate. There's a time between them, and I'm just sort of looking at this and thinking, is it going to roll yet again down towards the S1? Now, if it breaks the S1 this time, S2's on play because we haven't hit the daily weekly pivot. So the S2 could well, if it breaks the S1, we could be playing towards that S2. It's got a 75% probability if it breaks the S1 then. Right, okay, other trades then, really it's quite messy here. Pound Aussies, obviously all these pound pairs, they've messed themselves a little bit, but you see pound CAD again, another market, it's broken. It's been in a solid sell-off point, pushed up, broken down again. May see a continuation as we run through post 10 o'clock today. Right, that's pretty much it on the Forex side of things. A quick look at gold and the indices. Gold first. Let's just look at the higher time frames. Messing around a little bit here, and we sort of get it. Well, you'll see that I think may have taken them off previously. I've just drawn that on really badly because I popped it. There you go. Sort of these horrible magnetic things, which they're pros and cons about these because they just draw things. You see, it's just got this sort of wedge that's forming. It's tighter wedges and maybe forming within the wedge, but quite ugly still, and it's certainly it's not trendy enough for me to be wanting to trade it. If you're an intraday trader, I'm sure you're looking at it and there's opportunities, but I've stayed clear of this. I'm more of a sort of swing on it. Oil, well, we saw Western Texas, which I tend to follow a bit more than the Brent oil. It's pushed into its R2 up there on the quarterlies, rolling back somewhat at this stage here. $92 was the sort of area where I was looking at for it to run up to, where it's pretty much done that. Had a good old move up there, sold off from yesterday afternoon, funny enough, at 2 o'clock. 2 o'clock is a major period. If you go back and look at all the 2 o'clock bars, you'll find that it either gets into gear and shifts up, or rolls over. It's a real key trading time. Anyway, and it often sets the tone for the period in front of it. Right. Okay, so at the moment this has put lower highs in, looking a little bit on the softer side. We'll see what develops there. I will just look at Brent very quickly, but it's the same picture, but not so technically perfect in terms of running into its pivot. It's just gone through it a little. Right, okay, enough of that. Let's quick look at the US markets, North American markets here. Just looking at what's going on here, quite mucky still. It sold off yesterday, starting to, and we're seeing this across now. The FOMC is a big player into this, and the market, the traders are watching this. I'm not expecting anything until we get this FOMC out, and then I think we'll get a more clearer sign of things to come there. Okay, as I said, it's those forward projections in particularly that traders will be watching for. Close to home then, the DAX had a bit of a shove this morning for now, but whether it can follow through on that, it's rangy but ugly, and it's not even the neatest of ranges, but it's run into its hourly 50 there and fouled into that. Maybe we will get a correction and a follow through as we run through. Okay, that's pretty much it. Oh, your FTSE. FTSE rallying on the low inflation data. So there we go. Right, that's it for me today. I wish you a great day's trading, and I'll catch you in the morning. I will be opening the trading room next week for a few days, so watch out. Maybe put something up on the system tomorrow so you can register for that. Okay, that's it for now. Take care. Bye for now.